Alright guys, next victim. It's a 21-inch yard machine, but yard machine, everybody made a yard machine. Briggs & Stratton, Kohler, the new Kohlers, and these older these older Tecumsehs. And so with just taking 30 seconds to check this out, looks like somebody has put a new spark plug in it. And let's see, I don't even know if it has oil. Let's just have a look. The oil is just a little bit above the full. It's got no gas in it at all. So the only other thing that I can see that might be, or probably is, the issue is when I squeeze the bail takes the ground off the coil by this mechanism moving forward right here. And I don't see any movement there at all. Right? So I don't think there's going to be a spark. But we'll put the spark indicator on there. Oh. And that's how we'll start this operation. I don't think there's going to be a spark. Okay, tie it down here. Well, I think that's the problem. Tie the bar down. No, there's no spark. So now what I'm going to do is disconnect this and we'll wire it up so there is a spark. And I kind of twigged onto this right off the bat because the bar that pulls the cable is all bent. Okay, so now my next goal is to see if we can get a spark. So I'll just leave you set up here and we'll come back in just a shake. Alright guys, so what I've done, I took off the cable, and cables are usually the problem, but I used penetrating oil first, and then I used white lithium grease. Works good with plastic, and this cable is just fine. So then right down here, I shouldn't be on my hands and knees, I've got, I lubricated the lever that takes the ground on and off the coil. So I lubricated that, I don't know if you can see that. And now the only other major issue is this bent. Oh, it is bent pretty bad too. What I'm trying to do, sorry about that, I'm trying to get this bar off of here. As you can see, that's bent. So I'm going to use a pair of pliers or channel locks or something to get that out, and we'll get that straightened out. Oh, there we go. There we go. Ah, it's got a bend on the end. Okay. So now we just have to straighten this out. In fact, it almost straightened itself out. That's kind of scary, isn't it? So I'll just put this in the vise and take any kinks in it that are there. So since we took the pressure off here, the bend on this, where it was bent right at the weak spot there, we may have to do something about that. Okay, here's the bent one it just keeps bending over and over again, and it's going to break right there. So I've got 3 more of these that, if you look, are just a slightly bigger diameter steel. I'd really like to use this old beater here, just because it's a little stronger make, but I don't know. These two have the hook in them, so let's just try the original old style. Same idea. Okay. Now I'm not 100% certain. Oh, that's still pretty darn stiff. It's almost like that cable wasn't doing the right thing. That's too stiff. I think it's I don't think it's this that's causing the problem. I think it's the lever down there is just, there we go. I wonder if I got a spark now. Ooh, that's still too tight. Hello? It's almost like something's not matched here. Okay, we should have a spark now. You can see that. Is the spark gone? Gee, nothing's easy, guys. No, there's a spark there. We'll take our spark plug rig off of here. Good, and it should fire. And you're watching. Remember, you saw it first here on Bruce Bender TV. Okay, so now we need a better clamping system for that handle, because that's just going to bend again. So I will, I don't know if it needs more lubrication or if something's jammed on it, but now it's time to put it on the lift. All right, let's bring you to the bench. All right, I just wanted to show you this. This is the lever right here, and that's the one that's been stiff. I've used quite a bit of penetrating oil on it, and it has loosened up enough that I can do it with my hands, but it's still a pretty tight squeeze. So I'm going to take the top of the shroud off and just have a look and see if there's maybe another pivot point up inside there. It's been a few months since I've taken one of these Tecumsehs apart this way, and that's a 1/4 inch nut driver on the top there. It's interesting, that somebody put a brand new plug into this, and that's what they train people to do. It's just that everything's so tight on that lever. I've got to alleviate the pinch point somewhere. And then a 5/16 for the dipstick holder assembly. This is exactly the same procedure on how you fix a rewind, right? To this point. Okay, that'll do. Let's take this off. Now, do we have any more pivoting spots to grease? I don't think we do, but just that spring. Man, I would just love to take a little tension off that spring. It's just too tight. And I've seen this before on these. The metal isn't tough enough for the tension of that spring. I'm really tempted to lower that down and take a grinder and just take a tiny bit of tension out. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Blah, blah, blah. Just take you back out, zoom you back out. Okay, so this is the spring right here that puts the tension on the lever that I'm squeezing, right? Right there. And it's just stretched a tad too tight, right there. And I was thinking of taking a grinder and putting about 1/8 of an inch notch right in there. You can see where it's been digging in. So I don't know. I got to think about this. I'm going to turn it on. You don't need to watch me think. All right, guys. I did a couple of things. I just cut a little tiny notch in there to make a little less tension on the spring. I think somebody has replaced this cable because it probably gave away because this was so tight. I've come across this in many Tecumsehs. They just are too tight for the type of metal that's holding it together. This bends and the cables get deformed. This is where the cable attaches to the bar, and even after all this work of lubricating, this was still letting go, so I've really done a good job of taping that. Zoom in a little bit, and we're looking right here, right? So I'll show you that. It's still a little catchy, isn't it? And it's all been greased and oiled and everything up in there, so that's as good as it gets. And interestingly enough, I found a maintenance sticker on here from a company in town. But I mean, they were just trying to probably do the same thing I'm doing here. So nothing against them. But they don't, I mean, they have to charge $70 to $90 an hour to keep the doors open. And you spend too much time on a little $120 or $140 lawnmower and you're not making any money at all. So that's when they come to the backyard guys like me. So, there we go. And we're just going to put the shroud on and cover it back up. Put some fuel in it and see if she goes, and then we'll see if we have to rebuild the carb or not. Thanks. So are we ready for a demo? The oil is almost brand new on this mower, so. Might smoke a bit because it's been sitting for a long time. Well, I've always liked red, so the main problem was that tight shut-off right there, and it just loosened that spring a tiny bit, and I think that's a different cable than was on the original one, and I super taped it, 2 layers of different tape, one non-stretch and one stretch to hold that on. That's all I can do. It's a dollar factor, right? So anyway, that'll be good for somebody. And they can bring it back, right? Where else can you get a 4-week warranty on an old 10-year-old machine? Talk to you later.